another episode of the Stock Shot Show. Now today we are going to go into the backswing. So we are going to start to get into the meat of what it is to start building a swing that is efficient, that allows you to hit a stock shot. So we've talked about a lot of things. If you haven't checked out the other episodes in regards to our posture, grip, alignment, all of those fundamentals that you need, make sure you go back and you watch that episode. And if you have a buddy whose alignment and setup, when you look at it, you go, oh my gosh, this dude looks like he's playing croquet, not golf, be sure to send him those videos and subscribe to the button below so that you get updated as to when these new Stock Shot shows come out or any content that we are putting out on the golf room. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the backswing. Now, if you have a pen and paper and you got a journal and you're keeping notes, I want you to write these 3 words down because these 3 words are essentially the essence of a backswing. And it consists of a tilt, a turn, and a hinge. That's it. And if you can tilt, meaning you can bend over, if you can turn and you can go like this, and you can kind of hinge your wrist like you're hinging a hammer, you can essentially have a backswing that looks like Rory, looks like Jack Johnson, looks like Sergio Garcia, looks like any of those tour players that you love. Now, in the backswing, so when we are setting up, right, we covered, and you can see I'm taking my own advice in my other episodes, and I've got my alignment set up, right? So as we're setting up, what we are wanting to do is we are wanting the club to stay on plane. Now, you can see that if I had essentially like a line drilled through the shaft right at my setup, the club would go on plane. So what we need to do is we need to establish what makes the club go on plane. Now, to kind of eliminate some arguments, if we will, if I were to set up like this and my hands were against this wall, right? Like let's pretend there is a wall above this white stick. If I turn my body, you can see that my hands are working further away from the stick. So that is that term of what we're using of our hands going this way would be depth, right? So that depth in my swing is allowing me to get hands, or what you might want to use the word is like flat, right? So as I'm turning, my hands are working in. So that's what we're trying to do. As I'm taking the club back, my hands work in because I'm turning. And then secondly, as I'm going back, the club is hinging, and the club is hinging this way. We are not horizontally hinging it from the inside. So as I set up, I am turning and hinging. So you can see that I am tilted over, I'm turning and hinging. So that allows the club to be on plane. Now, if you see in your video, right, if you're going in, you're a member of like the Stock Shot Club and you're setting up videos to where we're giving you constant feedback and you're seeing that your club is inside, which is so common amongst amateur golfers, 9 times out of 10, that is because you are improperly hinging the club in your backswing. So what we want to do is as we're setting up, we're turning and hinging to make that club on plane. Now, how do you practice that? Well, luckily, we can do what is essentially anyone can do, which is in a door. So imagine I am walking through a door right into my house. I'm simply going to go and put my feet, my toe line, right against the doorway so that my hands are essentially on the door jamb, like so. And then as I'm turning and hinging the club, you can see that the club is the same height as my hands. My hands are slightly inside the doorway, and the club is outside the doorway. A lot of times what we see is players who do this inside the Stock Shot Club, they will go like this, and the club will be too low. That's just a lack of hinging. Or they'll go like this, and their hands will go out. And the problem with that is that when you're filming your swing and you're looking at it, you go, okay, my club's going inside. I need to make my hands go out. The problem is that the club works, it's like a stick. So obviously when I push the grip out, it makes the club go in. So we actually need to do the opposite. To make the club stay out, we need to push the grip in, or also feel like we're pushing the grip down, and that makes the club stay out in front of us. You always hear tour players say, yeah, I'm trying to keep the club out in front of me. That's exactly what they're trying to do. So as they're setting up, they're in their door frame, and they're tilted over, right, which we talked about in our posture. They are turning, and they are hinging. And you can see the club face, you know, a lot of times I remember thinking this as a kid, is like, do I want to have the club that like toe to the sky, or do I want it to turn down? Well, if I took the club back and I didn't rotate the face at all, the face would match my spine at a 45-degree angle, right? So we want to kind of have it, there's kind of like a little bit of a threshold, right? Kind of a lot depends on your grip and your pattern and so on and so forth. Everybody's a little bit unique case. But by and large, if we're going to say we're going to write a book, we're going to have that face just feeling a little bit down. And that would be the start of feeling how you can basically turn and hinge in the backswing. If you want to, you know, notice, hey, am I hinging enough? Because when we go into the next episode, we're going to talk about what do we do like at left arm parallel. You could always go to stockshotsetter.com and you could buy a training tool that will show you how much hinge to have, and it's free. You just got to pay for shipping and handling. So you can go over to stockshotsetter.com and you can get that. But this would be a great way for you to practice. Now, let's just say you go, okay, I don't have a door frame, I'm on a range. What could you do on a range? Well, what you could do is you could take an alignment stick and you could jam it into the grip, right? So I'm going to jam the alignment stick into the grip, and then I'm going to set up so that the alignment stick is running down the left side of my leg, or the lead side of my leg if you're a lefty. And as I turn back, I'm going to make that stick run down and touch me down in the knee. And that's going to make it so that as I go back, the club is hinging. So now you can see I do just with that door frame. And you can see that like Sergio is doing that same motion over here with his door frame, and Zach Johnson would be coming back, and that club would basically be going right over his hands when he's doing that. To the point is that you can feel what that is, because the whole point with training your swing is that you never want to make it to where you're trying to feel it, right? We want something that is objectively telling you whether or not you had the right answer. That's what you need to make sure that when you're training, right? So just like I equate it like doing a math problem. If I say 10 plus 10 is 19, and that feels like it's the right answer, listen, you need an answer key to say, no, man, it's 20. 10 plus 10 is 19. I'm like, no, but it feels right. And you go, right, but your feeling is wrong. It's 20. And that's where you need to create feedback loops so that you can essentially see if what you are doing is correct or not. And that's why we want to use some of the door frame drills. We can do something like this. Like you can even go through and actually like hit little tiny soft shots to where you're setting up. You get like a feeling of it and running down your leg. So you're kind of up to the top, down your leg, and through. And then if you're on the course and you lose the feeling, just take the club and kind of go down on the grip. Feel like you set up and then let it run down your leg and then up and then through. And that can establish that you can get the feeling if you lose it on the golf course. So this is kind of the start of the backswing to kind of working on that tilt, turn, and hinge. In the next episodes, we'll talk about the next stage. But for now, go in and work on this hinge piece and make sure you're doing it. If you have any questions at all, just remember that my team of coaches, it's basically on call waiting for you to send them your videos inside the Stock Shot Club. So if you go to stockshotclub.com, you can register and you can basically go in and you can get unlimited submissions and send us your video, get like crazy turnaround time to where you can be practicing at like 9:15 at night, 8:30 at night, be like, man, am I doing this right? And like immediately we will tell you, oh, like you got to go a little bit more in, or like your toes are in the wrong spot, or like blah, 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 blah. So now you can have constant contact with a coach to make sure you're doing it right. If you have any buddies who suck the club inside, don't hit stock shots, be sure to send them this video and subscribe below. Thanks so much for tuning into the Stock Shot Show, and we'll see you next time.
What if you could build your own stock shot in just 21 days and it was completely free? Well, now, if you go to stockshotchallenge.com, you can do exactly that. Head over to the website and start building your stock shot in just 21 days.